Public Safety Committee. Today is March 17th. Happy St. Patrick's Day. We'll stand up and do the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay. We'll do a roll call. We have a new member today, as well as one who is calling in, so I'll introduce our first new member.
Fred Keneal.
Oh, turn your microphone on. Push a little
You
button.
gotta hold it down or
Just push it and it'll turn green.
Fred Keneal.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and
I'm originally from Lockport, New York, which is about 18 miles east of Niagara Falls, New York. Retired in '05, became a snowbird in '06, and I bought a condo here in 2014 and became a permanent resident.
great.
Welcome.
Very good.
Thank you.
Our second person is Karen. I'm gonna put her on here. Ah. Karen DeMichelle, and she can't talk right now. She's not having good service. So Karen, welcome. I think you're a retired police chief, and she's gonna talk.
I heard something.
Yeah, I did hear something. Anyway, so she's listening in, and she'll be texting me some of her commentary, which is great. And then, do we have anybody else who called in? I don't think so. All right, next.
Kieran Farrell.
Don Thomas.
Ron Binnock.
Todd Capella.
All right.
Don, I believe Mr. Williams is also on the Zoom call.
Okay. Wonderful. New member. Introduce yourself, please.
Sure, my name is Luke Williams. I was actually born on Fort Myers Beach. My folks lived on San Carlos Island. Left for Chicago, was gone 40 years, moved back on a permanent residence as of October of last year. Yeah, I'm interested to see what I can do to help my community.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for calling in, and we welcome you.
Thank you.
So, approval of the minutes, I don't think we got the last minutes because they were so long ago, so we're going to skip that. Public comment, there's nobody here today, so this might be a very short meeting. We're going to discuss a little bit, but for those of you who didn't make it to the M&P meeting last month, or earlier this month, Karen and I showed up. I know that a lot of people did not get the email. So that's one thing we need to make sure, checking your spam and stuff, but for our next meeting. But basically what we did is we met with the town council and with town manager and other representatives to say, really, what is our direction of the safety committee? We feel like, a lot of the things that we come up with, maybe the town is already working on it, and so it's redundant, or it's something that we have no jurisdiction over, such as lighting on the bridge, that's FDOT. Then you've got, if there's something with the street, that's Lee County, sidewalks are Lee County. So we were basically beating our head a little bit against the wall, trying to figure out what is our role and how can we be a benefit to the town, and if there is there really something we can do to make a difference? Because the definition of insanity is just keep repeating the same thing over and over again with no results. Some of the ideas that came out of that meeting, I'm going to read them. We've got people here who have been on the island for a while, and we're going to interject on a few things. But the first one was the development of a community emergency response team, a CERT volunteer program, which I'm going to read them all, and then we can go into discussion, if that sounds good, everyone. Number 2 was improving visitor information and getting the right safety information to the hands of visitors by utilizing hotels, businesses, and STR operators. So I'm guessing that's the beach operators or any type of rentals.
Short-term rentals.
Short-term rentals. Number 3, enacting the process of getting the emergency call boxes in Times Square area and looking at potential funding options. Number 4 was a seasonal traffic plan with volunteer assistance for pedestrian crossing. Number 5 was high-rise fire awareness campaign. Number 6 was an AED program for condominium buildings through fire department discount program. The next one was lightning strike detection systems. The next one was a potential public safety fundraising event, informational event, like a light the night type thing. The next one was improvements to the crosswalk near Margaritaville with the possibility of renting temporary barriers during season. The next one, pothole program. Thank you, Vice Mayor Safford. And the next one was addressing wrong direction travel in bike lanes and possible pavement markings. And the last one was a community beach cleanup program. So, I think we emailed most of these to everybody. And if you don't, I can forward it to you. But let's just go one by one. I think some of them have to come off our plate because it's something that we don't have the jurisdiction to do. And I'll let Ron speak on behalf of the CERT. And Karen, if you have some comments, you can text me.
Yeah, I know that back when we first got here on the island, the Fort Myers Beach Fire did have a CERT program. Some neighbors of mine belonged to it, and I went to a few of the meetings. It's a deal where I don't see any way that we can do anything with it. I mean, we could bring it up to the fire department, but to say it's a deal that the fire department's going to have to look into to see if they want to resurrect that program. There's a lot involved for the fire department to come up with things and the training and stuff for the CERT members, and then once you do have an emergency, using them. When you have an emergency, there's things that the fire department does, there's stuff that law enforcement already is doing. And so there would be things maybe when we have the shrimp parade or when we have, activities on the island to be able to use certain members. But that, again, that's totally, the training and all that type of stuff would be with the fire department. So I don't see handing that off to us works at all.
I wish the fire department was here. It's something to bring up. Karen, do you have any comments? I'm looking at my phone. No, she didn't say anything. She said the same thing after she left at that meeting. She said that that's something that fire has to handle. Correct. Because they're the ones who are going to have to train. They're the ones who are going to have to disseminate. And at what point does it cause or police department, she said. Fire or police has to handle it because basically they have to train them and then they have to dictate where they can really fit in.
Correct. When an emergency happens, that's who's going to be there is law enforcement and fire. And so that's with the fire department, that's who's going to be handling them and telling them, using the CERT members at an emergency situation. Or, like I said, they could use them at one of the activities where there's lots of people. And so, yeah, it's again, it's something that the fire, I could go to the fire department and talk to them and let them know that that's been brought up and see if they want to do that.
That'd be great.
Yeah, so
We'll
I'll
see
take
what they
that on
say
and I'll
and-
contact the fire department
Okay.
and see if they want to resurrect the CERT program.
All right.
Kind of maybe have a feeling what they'll say, but I don't know.
And-
I have a question about the CERT program.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I believe FEMA has a CERT program that anybody can take to get certified. Can't we piggyback with that, or maybe do that first before fire gets involved?
I'll take this one on. I'll take the CERT on. I'll look into the FEMA to see. I have no idea. Just my experience, I'm retired from Omaha Fire, and my experience, we had CERT, and with the tornadoes and stuff that we have, other agencies were already taking care of certain things, and so we just had, be it quite honest with you, we had a hard time finding things to have them do at emergency situations. And so we kind of ended up disbanding the CERT program that we had in Omaha back in the day. So, but I will look into that. I have no idea about if FEMA has that program or not, so I'll look into that, and if not, I'll also talk to the fire department and see what their thoughts are on the start.
Great. You can
Okay.
bring it back next month. Karen
Yeah.
also wanted to add, there's so much more training than you would expect. Plus, if you don't use the volunteers enough, then they don't feel that they're needed or wanted, and then it falls apart. It's basically, you know, anyway, Ron, you can look into it, that's great, and we'll
Yep.
go from there. Okay, visitor information is our next one. Improving visitor information, getting the right safety information to the hands of visitors. Before I say anything, does anybody have any comment on that? Brad?
Yes, it's something my wife and I had discussed. She worked in Sanhini Plaza, the bathing suit store there several years ago, and they get frustrated with the tourists, so they would, and maybe it's not the right word, but they would call these people Torons. It's a tourist, it's acting like a moron. And anyway, I mean, that's not something we want to say publicly to tourists. But the fact of the matter is, on 2 occasions, we were on the sidewalk. She was walking to work right around the corner from where we live. And parents and a couple kids ride their bikes. The little one comes by and he bumps into her. Second one bumps into her. Parents come along, don't say a word, don't apologize, and they just keep riding. I had a bike rider on the sidewalk. My wife and I were walking side by side. The bike rider is coming our way, and he moved a little bit, but he ends up banging my shoulder as he goes by. There was on Facebook a woman who had an e-bike, and evidently she got bumped in the bike lane. So she says we ought to be able to have e-bikes on the sidewalks, and I commented, well, now. You're transferring a hazard that you feel to the sidewalks because you're putting e-bikes where people are walking. So, another thing, the tourists, without stopping to look both ways, will just walk off the sidewalk right in front of you as you're driving along. I've experienced that a couple times. So I think that as far as the safety, if we compiled a bunch of these items and for the tourists to come down, you talked about information going to the hotels, motels. Maybe compile a list of these things. They're coming on an island. We always say it's island life. It's a little bit different, it's slower, it's whatever. But get them to understand, yes, you do need to stop at crosswalks when people want to walk across. I was going off the island last week. I stopped 3 times to let people cross. There was a guy behind me, a big SUV. And I look in the mirror and he's shaking his hands at me because I'm stopping to let these people walk across. These are just some of the things that it's basically mobility, politeness. I'm not sure what the term to use, but I'm not sure how many other situations or recommendations could be used, but something to consider. I think we should consider, especially if you're going to send something out to the hotels.
Right.
Hotels or for the bed and breakfasts.
Well, I just pulled it up as of yesterday. Was it yesterday? Yeah, they just passed a new law with Florida, implementing the new electric e-bike regulations through SB 382. And it's basically focusing on pedestrian safety. The key changes include a 10-mile speed limit when passing within 50 feet of pedestrians, so you are allowed to ride on the sidewalk. So these are the things that they're saying. Must reduce speed to 10 miles an hour or less when within 50 feet of a pedestrian, which is basically everywhere around here most of the time. Audible signal required. Riders must have an audible signal, a bell or a voice before overtaking. Prior to Ian, we had launched giving bells out to people. We did a campaign to say, pick up your bell at Town Hall. We tried to get them into every one of the short-term rental properties who have bikes, and also literature to say, this is the rules when you're biking on Fort Myers Beach. Because a lot of our areas are a little congested to have both walkers and bikers. The next thing, the new law has, they're creating a new micro mobility device safety task force. They're gonna start reporting any e-bike crashes. Basically, those are this is the new thing. So, that being said, I would be more than happy to work with our public information officer and see what campaign that she's getting ready to, if she's going to be launching this is the perfect thing where we need to announce it. We need to get it out. I think, I guess the way I look at it, you know, they talked about having this event on the island. It's not really for the people who live here. We hear a lot of this stuff. It's for the people who are visiting in mass amounts. So how can we effectively tell people when you're coming to Fort Myers Beach, this is the best way to ride a bike? So, you know, again, getting into the short-term rentals hands, getting into their booklets, getting little signage even on rental bikes that says this, maybe resurrecting the Bell program that we can see if it's in the town budget to give bells out, but I can meet with her and I'll take that on, which
Well,
kind
if I could add something, I downhill skied for a lot of years. And proper etiquette when you're skiing, if you're coming up on somebody, you gotta go around, you yell it on your left or on your right.
Right.
That's the side you're passing that person on. That's also something pretty simple.
right.
Bicyclists or e-bikes could do is just yell out what side you're coming around.
Well, and that's what they're supposed to be doing. It's just, and if you're a biker on the beach and we're going to work, most of those people know what to do. It's the people who are coming on who are just
Right.
picking up a bike and they have no idea and they're going, you know, against traffic and we want you to go with traffic. The other thing, and I've brought this up numerous times, I don't think we did never allowed bikes in Times Square. I think we should not allow bikes on the sidewalk starting from really around,
Seagrave Plaza on the way down.
it's not too, it gets a little okay there, but even a little farther down, like where Leaky Tiki was and that's where it starts getting congested, especially around Lani Kai, and there's no room for people on the bikes on the sidewalk and the mass amount of walkers. There just isn't. And we need to have, we keep talking about getting markings to say bikes in the street, and they have a few things, but most people don't want to be in the traffic. So we've got to figure out a way to get that heard, especially if you have little kids. They're not going to put those kids on a bike in traffic, so it's going to be, get off your bike and walk.
Yeah, and that was gonna be my question is, okay, so, you know, you get as far as Diamond Head or, you know, someplace up in there where there starts to be more pedestrian traffic. If you've come all the way from the south end of the island, you've already got 5 miles in by the time you get that point, and then there's no place for you to be on the street.
Yeah.
The lane's simply not that wide, and if you're not gonna be on the sidewalk, then your only option is to grow wings and fly over. I mean, you've got to keep in mind that the whole point of the bike lanes, the whole rest of the island, is to get people to ride their bikes up here,
Right.
not drive. Well, and then make a half a mile walk because it's almost as hard to fight through a lot of pedestrian traffic walking your bike as it is riding your bike. For one thing, you're now beside it, so you're actually taking up even more space, more width, because now you're beside your bike and you've still got your
Right.
2-foot wide bike beside you. Now you're taking up 3.5, 4 feet instead of 2. And even the Bell program, I mean, stop and watch pedestrians now, and unfortunately even bikes, and I mentioned this at the M&P meeting, I think. Everybody has 2 earbuds in with their music blaring. You need a foghorn. You need a train whistle to get through most people's sound. They're absolutely oblivious to what's going on around them, no situational awareness. I know in Pennsylvania and Texas both, as far as bicyclists were concerned, it's illegal to have noise, headphones, earbuds, anything like that in both ears if you're riding a bike on the street. I don't know if the same is true in Florida, but You know, I
Well,
did
that would
some
be a good
organized riding in
suggestion.
Texas.
A suggestion
Yeah,
if we're gonna put
but-
some print out. It's like,
Yeah,
right.
but you can yell until you're blue in the face and ding your bell, and people with the ear pods, which is 6 or 7 out of every 10 people nowadays, is just not gonna hear it.
Well, the other thing is to encourage them to bike ride in the early morning or in the evenings. I mean, I used to, when I first got down there as a snowbird, I'd ride my bike all the other end of the island and back with a bottle of water at 8 o'clock in the morning. Stop at Hammerhead, work out, and then continue on.
Right.
But yeah, if they want to bike, if they want to ride their bikes between 11 o'clock and 4 in the afternoon,
Right.
car traffic, like, there's
But during
traffic
season,
all over the place. Yeah,
that's
it's-
exactly when the residents at this end of the island
Need the bikes.
need the bikes. Because we don't, for 3 months of the year, we don't even try to leave the island after 1:30, 2
Yeah.
o'clock in the afternoon.
Right.
So we can't go up and patronize the local businesses up there. We can't go up for dinner. We can't go up for a drink because you can't get through traffic until 7 o'clock at night.
Another thing too, is with what you're saying is, I don't know if you can, if we can have something that is more restrictive than what the state allows now, especially with the state just coming out with that yesterday, saying that you can ride on this thing, but you have to do this and do this and do this, and then we make it more restrictive where you have to stop.
Right.
I have to
It's not gonna
look into
work.
that, yeah.
I mean,
Well,
the solution would
sometimes-
be, we keep talking about, and, I mean, my God, I wanted a wider, or less, a space we've been talking about. We never made room after the hurricane for the bike lane or for anything, and it hinders us. And, you know, I've
And-
always said I want a boardwalk or a Moby mat
have
that people could ride on.
7 Mile Beach.
Yeah, and get them off the street and get them, you know, that you could roll up that Moby mat at the end, at the end of season, but it'd give them something to take up and get them off.
And I assume it's far too late already, but they're going through and redoing Estero. Chief Worth showed us pictures a year ago
Yep.
of what could be done to actually change Estero, especially in the downtown section, to actually add a bike lane. And I think it was take a certain amount out of the sidewalk, but, and then railings and everything, and with the existing right-of-way, there was room to do it with the bike lane down on the road surface level. I know they're starting at the south end, and I'm sure that they've already completely determined the project, but I know we don't have any
Publicized
jurisdiction.
exactly what they're gonna do with Estero. I mean, I haven't read it, one article where it's spelled out exactly what they're gonna correct.
They are, there's markings on the street, if, coming up, down, or coming to here today, they were already pulling pavers out of the center and redoing stuff, so they're fixing
the
concrete,
pavers?
fixing curbs, doing the pavers in the drain,
They were
so.
broken.
What about
Yeah.
the storm drain, the covers that stick up,
Yeah,
and they're too high, too low? What are they doing
Yeah.
with those?
so,
I don't know.
I kind of
Find
assumed
out.
that that's what they were mostly fixing is, yeah, a lot of the storm drains are either 3 inches up or 3
Yeah.
inches down from
Yeah,
the
usually-
driving surface.
Maybe we can find out from town, they could, so that we're not, guessing here. Exactly what they're doing for the road. Are they, they talked about last year, that whole path. They talked about a way to go from south to north, like some kind of path throughout the island that people could bike to, again, get them off Estero. And I don't know where they're at with that. They had a company come in and do a presentation on it, and I don't know where they're at.
They fused up part of my neck in December, and my wife drove down through there. I'm gonna tell you something, I had to sit on the edge of the seat and get myself in a position to bounce up and down because of those
It's rough.
wastewater or whatever covers were terrible. Terrible even if I didn't have something like that, but
Sadly, they
Well,
weren't
I'll-
that
they're
great.
shims.
I'll go talk with the PIO and see what's
Yeah.
going on
They're,
that.
they're,
so
they're
we'll take care of
shims,
that.
if they're
I
low,
think
they're
that
shims.
visitor information sheet is something that we
Yeah.
can,
To put
We
up,
could
or
do that,
you
yeah.
It's in our
you take a
wheelhouse.
welding
Yeah.
torch and you cut whatever metal's
Yeah.
there
bike
to lower
etiquette,
the thing.
sidewalk etiquette,
Yeah.
pedestrian awareness.
Yeah,
that kind of stuff.
they weren't actually that good before Ian And,
Yeah, no, they didn't, right from the get-go for redoing it thoroughly, right?
yeah, wasn't necessarily all that well done
Yeah.
to begin with.
Okay, we're gonna keep moving, guys. Emergency call boxes in Times Square, potential areas. Okay. So, before the storm, we had just put in the emergency call box by the library. This is something I can't answer this question. We need to ask town, are they planning to bring it back? They were going, the one we already had, are they gonna fix it and put it back? Because then the next step was to add a second one at Times Square. So we'll have to ask Tom or whoever when they come in, or if you can find that out for us, that would be great. I mean, I don't wanna speculate, so we'll see where they're at on that. Because we're not grant writers, we're just find out.
Did they remove it for the storm? the
No, it
call
got
box?
nuked. It got nuked, so, and then they never put it back. It was like a shade to wait for the tram. There was a shade, like a bus stop, it looked like. And then you could have a call center on that.
I have a question about that. Do the call boxes have AEDs with them?
No, they,
They should.
that one it went right to, 911 when you picked it up.
Okay.
But I don't think it had an AED with it. But that's something we can find out.
Yeah, I mean, we should have AED boxes that, once they're broken or once they're accessed, it should call 911 automatically. I don't even know if we need an actual call box. Everybody has phones now.
That's true.
Yeah, I was kind of wondering that same thing.
I'll find out. We'll find out on that. I'll email Tom and give everybody an update on that.
Okay.
Okay. Lightning strike detection systems. I don't know what that is. I mean, this is above my pay grade. Anybody?
What I believe is like on a golf course, when the golf course will have a system set up to where when there's lightning within so many miles of the golf course, an alarm, like a tornado siren, a siren goes off. And it alerts everybody that, when you hear that siren, there's lightning close by to clear the beach, clear the area, get to shelter. So I think that's a great idea, especially here.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree.
Karen thinks this is one of the best programs that they did bring up for us, so
Yeah,
does
I
anybody want to
agree.
take it on to do a little research in it, into what we could do? Anybody? Bueller?
I will, I'll check in on that.
Thank you. All right.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm putting your name down.
They may require you to go golf a couple different places to see what they have.
And Karen even said she'd be looking into it as well.
Okay.
Okay, she sent me this, I'll do this later. Okay, she also said, back to the biking, putting out good information where advertise a bike fixing station, like where you can pump your tires or something, if we have information like, bike pump and air, bike repair and air pump located at blah, 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 little signage. So I'll talk to the POI on that and go from there and see where we're at. Okay.
The new area by the traffic circle at Margaritaville.
The oval about?
Margaritaville is actually going to do that inner area, right? And I believe I remember hearing about golf cart parking and bike parking there.
I'll find out. I can't remember what they're doing. I know they're doing.
But
yeah.
if there's, first of all, bike parking anywhere near downtown I mean, we want everybody to go up there on their bikes instead of a car, and then there's no place to put your bike, especially if you're riding a $2,000 e-bike. You're not just gonna leave it
Right.
sit. So something like that is a heck of a public benefit for any developers that are developing right in the downtown area. But anywhere that if there's gonna be a big central bike parking area, that's a great place to put up a big sign with the bike rules, you know, riding on the right side of the road and, you know, some kind of notification, ring your bell on your left, you know, just some things like that, which is right there, a sign for people to read where they're expected to park their bikes for the day anyways.
Okay. All right, I'll look into that when I'm doing my other stuff. Okay, a potential public safety, they said fundraising event. Basically that for information. We used to do something in conjunction with the school. Well, since that's defunct, we don't really do that. Anybody have any ideas or thoughts on this? Before I,
What's the money to be raised for?
What end, yeah. exactly.
I don't
If-
know.
If we
They
don't have
just,
reason to raise the money, then
I don't know,
why
I
have a
don't know,
fundraiser?
and,
So-
I have no idea that's what, they threw that out, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not really sure what you mean by that, and, I get if you had a whole event where you invited the, you know, fire, safety, and a bunch of things, but would it be attended? Would it be attended? Let me put it that way, would it be attended by people who live here?
We could possibly roll this into a CERT program. So it could be a CERT program that has a fundraising component to it.
What are we raising money for, though?
Public awareness campaigns?
Could we not fundraise for the lightning strike detectors or the call boxes, something like that, and donate it to the town? I don't know how it works, like with community or committees, but
Well, fundraising, I'll speak candidly, I'm fundraising right now, I do for my nonprofit that we work, is a lot of work. It's, you know, it's a huge undertaking. And we have to be clear and precise, and candidly, a lot of these things should be able to be picked up with grant money without us having to fundraise. I think that's kind of, I don't know. I just don't see people giving us money to fundraise for a lightning program when they'd say this is something benefits the town, that they would say, let's try to get a grant written or use some of the town budgeting if it's worth it that way. And I don't even know how much a lightning protection program is. Is it hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars? I mean, I don't have the time to do a second fundraiser.
from what I was like preliminarily looking at, it's around like 8 to 10K for one sensor and sirens. I don't know if we would want to do it down the whole island or just down towards the more populated area, but that was what I was seeing. That's not installation and everything, so.
I think we need to do research on what exactly is needed for the lightning, which we talked about, and go from there. That's the first step, to see what it entails. I mean, to have one lightning strike box is kind of, we need to have more on a 7-mile
Probably
island. We
mounted
need
on
to
top
spread
of-
them around, yeah.
They could be mounted on top of the fire hall buildings, whatever, but the
Yeah.
question is, yeah, the sensor, what's
Yeah.
Yeah.
the expense for all that technology?
But you also start with your highest need first, which means somewhere in the Lonnie Kai Margaritaville is 80% of the people on the beach of the entire island is in that half-mile, three-quarter-mile stretch from Diamond Head to Pink Shell. So, I mean, if you're in business, you do your biggest bang for the buck first. So if you can only do one detector, it's probably right there at Times Square, and you get as much
You
of
probably
the.
have one detector, but you could have all the sirens.
Here's what Karen
Right.
said. She goes, I believe the fundraising shouldn't be with the town. I think that's what people say, that's what our taxes are for. But what we could do is see if the resorts are willing to partner with the town to do something. To do, like any of the resorts or the new hotels would do lightning detection, you know, as they come in, or some of these new buildings that are coming in, as a public benefit.
Yeah.
You've got London Bay coming in with a big announcement. Why not ask them? That's a public benefit. You've got, all these new businesses are coming in to build what, this is the kind of thing that we want a lightning detection program. There's something that is a true public benefit that I think we should ask.
That's a good idea.
You know, to me, that is a public benefit that's tangible instead of saying, I'm giving you a view corridor. Okay, but, you know, is it a good view corridor or whatever? Anyway, all right. So, back to this fundraising event. I want to scrap the fundraising event, but we do have to see if we want some kind of public safety event. And again, this is with the town. I think we need to work with their information officer.
Also too, with fire and police, it's usually like the first Tuesday in August, first Tuesday October,
October.
National Night Out.
Yes.
I know October is national. It's for the fire. It's the National Fire Month. You know, where you do your smoke detectors and do all that stuff with fire. So that's something that we could look at when National Night Out is, that we join up with the fire department or the sheriff's department and see what we can do to help bring awareness and get people out. That would kind of, I can see that being in our realm.
Wheelhouse?
Yeah.
The only problem with that is October is the slowest month on the island. If you're, I mean, to me, you have something in season because
You're
the
not gonna-
residents already know it's a lot easier to get information out to the residents who are here year round. It's the 30,000 people that show up on January 1st that are the ones we really need to get safety information.
But they
in
have to
front
get them
of.
from the people who live here. So if they're renting, they're getting it from the owners of the short-term rentals. That's where they're getting, because you can't just, you know, that's a blip in time if you're trying to get the tourists, and they're not gonna come anyway. They're not here to go to a public safety thing. They're going to here to lay by the beach. But who we need to educate are the people who are renting their homes, you know, vacation rental businesses, the hotels that have tons of bikes out already, the, you know, lightning detection. Let's say we do get a public benefit from one of the new developers and we get that on there. We have to educate every visitor over the whole 12 months. Well, that's not gonna be from one night out. That's gonna be from us getting out to the renters and the people who own the houses, the people that own the short-term rentals, the rental companies and the hotels. This is what you do if you hear a siren going off and the lightning's coming, that means blah, 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 do this.
So a safety
Teach a
bulletin,
man
a
to
safety,
fish.
a safety notice page or two that goes to all of the short-term,
Yeah.
if you apply for the permit or whatever
Right.
to do a short-term rental, and the big vacation rental companies that have hundreds and hundreds of units on the island, that page or two of, you know, the broad brush stroke things that could go into the packet that sits in a binder in every one of those units all
Right.
year round.
Right, that's what we need to do that. And also, going back to the fire department, maybe what we do is we come up with, we work with the fire department and maybe there is a, I don't know, a bonus if you're a renter, or if you're, you know, one of those people, if you go to this event, you're gonna get, they're gonna offer something. I don't know what it would be. Is it the latest and greatest new alarms, and we've got them at a discount, you know, or something like that. We bought the new fire and carbon monoxide alarms, and they're normally $500, and you can get them on that night or for the next week or the month of October for $100, and get your, you know, do something that entices people who have these things to get there, to go take advantage of it and listen to see what's new. Maybe we can talk to the fire department or police and see what's going on.
Well, and that's the reason I brought up National Night Out, was because that's already something that's been established and it happens year after year after year.
Right.
And we just piggyback onto that.
Well, plus we got the beautiful new fire department here. It'd be something that would be real, actually, we could really do something fun in October with it. Does anybody want to take that on to talk to them?
Yeah, since
talk
I'm
to
doing
them
the
when you're gone.
CERT thing, I'll do that as well.
Okay. Thanks, Ron. Improvements to the crosswalk near Margaretville and renting temporary barriers during season. Okay. Karen had something on this. She brought it up, but there's something with the barriers. I don't know. We need to find out what the town is doing for barriers. I know that Tom Yazzo said they're looking into it. We do have a problem with people just walking across the street and they don't wait for the crosswalks, which means, do we have enough crosswalks? We've got, I'll give a good example, the Whale. You've got people that don't want to then cross where the crosswalk was by the new 7-Eleven. They want to cross right when they leave the Whale, and it holds everything up. So is it something that we need to look at as, to direct people, this is where you need to cross? You can't just, the pedestrian traffic really slows everything down this time of year. And, they're finally listening to the don't walk sign at Margaretville. That took, honestly, a good year for them when, if the thing says don't walk, they're waiting. But now we have the same problem at the Oval About. Those lights are not working and people just walk. It doesn't say stop. That you've got cars who freak out as they're coming over, slam their brake on because there's someone wanting to cross the street. They push that button and it's immediate. They can walk right then. I think those are the kinds of things we need to have changed on this island, and that is, I don't know if that's FDOT or if it's the town, but I guarantee if FDOT lived here, they would fix it immediately and had to deal with it, because it is not safe, especially when you have the amount of people coming in and you've got one person pushing it and then everybody stops and that traffic stops, and I don't know what the solution is on that, and that's why I'd love to see what the town is. Obviously, the town has to be addressing it. It's common sense.
Yeah, and I discovered, quite by accident recently, that if you are heading northbound there at the traffic oval and you go to turn left in Times Square, when you get up to the line,
You can't
the
see the
light
light.
is behind you.
Yeah.
I couldn't even see it in my sunroof.
That's another issue. If you get
It's-
up to the line, you can't see if the light
Yeah,
turned
you have
green.
no idea
Yeah.
if the light's still green or.
It was bad.
It's dangerous, and honestly, the town needs to send a strongly worded notice to the FDOT or the county or whoever. I mean, that's just flat out unacceptably dangerous.
We really do need an update, like if we can get an update from Tom and those guys to see what they're doing, because they have to have had to address this. I mean,
Can I interject something with this?
yeah,
All right, so Tom was talking about putting concrete barriers. The generic term is a Jersey barrier. I don't think we should do concrete because it's going to be, it's harder to place, it's harder to pull up. You need a forklift. I think we should do water-filled Jersey barriers. In addition, most of them have an ability to add a privacy screen on top of them. I believe a big problem that we have downtown is neighbors. People cars, looking at people on the sidewalks. If we can block the view of the pedestrians from the cars, I think that'll speed things up greatly. In addition, those privacy fences above the barriers is going to prevent people from hopping the barriers to get over and cross the street wherever they want to. You guys follow me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm just looking to see if they said anything. We
So,
need to
yeah,
find
I
out
mean,
from the
these-
town what they're gonna do. Town has been
Yeah,
discussing it, and I just don't know where they're at.
Right, and it's county controls the boulevard, so I don't know who's got jurisdiction there.
Lee County, I'm guessing.
Would Lee County allow us to put barriers?
We don't,
But the town manager or town council has got to be able to have some kind of input with Lee County.
Well, Tom brought it up at the
Especially when you're talking about a
MNP.
major safety issue.
Tom brought it up at the MNP. Tom's for those of you new, he's our liaison, like, with the town. He kind of manages all that stuff. He brought it up that they were looking at it, but I don't know where they're at. And so he hasn't, we'd have to wait to find out what they're doing. Because I know they're addressing it. They're seeing that same issue, especially down in the highly congested areas with some amount of people's just going into the road and just walking whenever they want. I think on the south end, I do see people using the crosswalks pretty well. I mean, you live down, for those who live down here, I think that it's really up north when they're just trying to go from bar to bar to bar. Or the parking, and then they just run across the street. So I can ask Tom on that.
I know Tom wears many hats, but is there any chance that he could just come to every one of these meetings?
He's supposed to, and he just got pulled away today. Because that's half the problem. This is one of the issues that we brought up at MNP. If Dan, the mayor, isn't here, he had a meeting today, and Tom's not here, then we have no idea. And we're just spinning our wheels, and we don't want to say, hey, let's do this, and then they say, hey, we're already working on it. Or we were working on it and we came up with this issue, so we have to pivot, or whatever it is.
We're not in charge of that.
Or we're not in charge of that. That's one of the biggest frustrations. So we sit in here and, we can address some of these ones that are easier to
We
do.
used to have fire and LCSO.
Used to show up too.
Used to
And that's
be
what I'm
here
wondering,
every time.
is everybody getting these emails? Because fire and LCSO usually show up, but it is spring break. And they're probably pretty busy this month and
Regards to the
next.
crosswalks, the one by Bay Beach Lane had lights, and that has not been
It's in the works.
It
They
is?
they brought that up, that yes, it's in the works
Right.
to get fixed, but I don't know when the timeline is, but they did address that and say
because
yes.
because of the curve there, because
Yeah,
Beach Bay Lane comes out, that's where I live. But that crosswalk, the reason why that light was put in was because there was a elderly couple in a van driving west,
yeah.
and an elderly couple crossing, and the the elderly van ran the two over and they died. And that's when that got put up. It hasn't been put up since. And you've got people coming off that bridge, and then they'll want to speed, race, pass cars in the center lane. It really is a dangerous area.
We'll get an
for people
update on
trying to
that
get-
one, because
but-
they did say at our
Yeah.
meeting at M&P, didn't they, Karen, that
Yes.
was, it's in the list to get done, so I just don't know I can't give you a
The Bay
deadline.
Beach Lane literally has 1,285 condo doors on that street. There's that many
Right,
associations.
yeah. But yeah, they did say they're doing that,
Right,
so.
good. Glad to hear that.
All right, so we're gonna move on. I'm not even gonna talk about the pothole program. I'm just gonna say that right now, that is off the list. For those, I'm not even say what it was. We're not filling potholes. I'm just gonna tell you that right now.
No.
Okay, next. We already addressed the next one, which is bike lanes. Community beach cleanup. There are multiple groups on the island that do community beach cleanups. You've got Keep Lee County Beautiful.
Tuna skin.
Tuna Skin does quite a few. I know that other nonprofit organizations do them. I think maybe this is just something we could, I don't know if there's a master calendar that everybody knows about, that we could say, these are the beach cleanups that are coming up for the year, and if there's a hole, we can see if other
That'd be a
people
good
want to
idea.
jump on. And that's it. We could ask with the public information to put it on the website. And then every time there's a beach cleanup at certain areas, they could put it on there, and it just becomes one of those community informational things to get people involved. And when I talk to her about the other stuff, I can ask her. Okay, that was it on the list. So we've got some action plans, which we can go with. Is there any other ideas or suggestions from this group that were not addressed or brought up? Anyone? Karen? I'm looking at my text. She must have got into a meeting.
No, I like some of the stuff that you guys came up with at the MMP. I mean, there's a few of them in here that are really good. Gives us something to do here.
All right. Well, what we can do is,
I personally don't have any now, but when I'm there in person, it'll be different, so.
that's okay. We all have stuff. I have a question. Riley, are you going to be, am I typing these notes up, or will somebody from the staff be typing things up?
Whatever you prefer.
Well, that what they used to do in the past is they would type up everything, so we had the minutes. And then to do the next agenda, I want to make sure, I would proofread the agenda, because sometimes they would forget some of the new things that were going, or stuff that needs to come off. It was the same agenda every week, so, or every month, so I want to make it real, so if we could get the minutes for this meeting would be great. And then if you could type up what we've, I don't know if you, well, once you do the minutes, we'll see who's doing the action plans on that. And that way we can send it out to everybody so that everybody can read over, so we don't forget. And then when we have our next meeting, which we're gonna figure out, here's 2 dates, we can go from there. The other question is, Karen wanted to know, do we always have to meet in the morning? Do we always have to meet in the morning? Traffic's kind of a pain if you're going north this time of year, but,
I'll have to check with Lizette about the scheduling.
okay, find that out
As
for
far
me.
as far as I know, I think as long as the chambers are open, because some of them do them at like 11 or in the afternoons and stuff. So I think as long as the chamber is open, we're fine to schedule it whenever.
Okay. Okay, she's good. Okay, so the next 2 dates that they propose is April 22nd or April 28th.
28th is better for me.
Same.
I'm good for anything.
I'm good for anything.
All
Yeah,
right.
I'm wide open.
Okay, so we're gonna do, the next meeting is April 28th. Currently, it'll be at 9 AM, and we'll go from there and safety, and we should be good. Hopefully, we can get some answers, and maybe Tom can read over the agenda and give us some of these, that we could email everybody, so, and go from there. Anything else? Any other thing? Anybody else wants to say anything?
I'm good.
All right.
Thank you.
Think we're
Thank
good.
you very much. We'll adjourn the meeting. We're adjourned. Oh, wait, do I have a motion? Well, I motion, anybody, a motion to
second.
adjourn?
I'll second that.
Okay, we're adjourned.